I'm just setting up real quick on YouTube. Um, Hedge Dolo. Hi. Um, can you guys please reshare this space? So, okay, so Peter, I asked you if you could do it earlier today. I want to I want to see something. I like to try different times. So, we usually start at 10, but I said let's do it early. So, we'll see how the crowd is at 7, and if it's, we could always go back to 10 on Thursdays, but definitely on Sunday is at 7, and maybe try a little bit earlier this Sunday. I don't know. But 7 seems like a good time on Sunday. But Thursdays is usually 10 p.m. However, we're here and I want to talk about Carmelo Anthony again because it was an update. His hearing, his first preliminary hearing is this Monday on the 14th, and that is when his lawyer is going to ask to lower the bail. Now, the DA said he has DA, and it's so funny because the DA, I think his first name is Greg, but the last name is Willis. And me and the judge have been doing content on DA Fannie Willis out in Georgia. And now the DA for this case, last name is Willis. He said he has not received the case yet in his office because the police is still doing an investigation. However, he will not get the death penalty and he will not get life in prison without parole. So the prosecutors, i.e., the DA, cannot ask for the death penalty or life in prison because it does not require to someone who is under the age of 18. But he
Yeah,
will go to prison.
Simmons v. Roper actually set that precedent in 2005 because they used to give the death penalty for those that were minors, but Simmons v. Roper overturned that, and you can't get the death penalty if you are under 18. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. A blessed girl, though. This is my X space today, not the judge. I should, you know what? I created a thumbnail with my picture that I'm going to change up so it confuses people. I'm talking to somebody on YouTube. But please continue to join us, blessed girl. Thank you for being here. So yeah, and so he will go to prison. He's going to go to prison. I don't and no one can argue me down with that. And so hopefully I picked the right time, but Peter, maybe I should have started at 10. I don't, can you add this space? Can you not so much tag? Yeah, you could tag, but can you send Lloyd and those other people that was talking shit about the judge in their message DM?
I already did. I did like probably 30 or 40 different direct messages with the space.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Because maybe I should have changed the title to, let's bring the smoke. You know what I'm saying, or something, or because people, and let me be specific. Black people, you have a long-term legal professional who has been a judge for over 30 years, a lawyer for over 40 years, right? And he came up here, did a space for 3 hours, answered everybody damn question whether you agreed or not, but you don't know the law. And he answered questions of all the different scenarios because listen, this is still under investigation. And these niggas went and started a space, i.e. Lloyd, and people talking shit about the judge. And my thing is, why you ain't had that same heat or discourse when he was holding his space? And this is why I'm looking at this whole Carmelo Anthony, because on YouTube it says my title on YouTube, um, you know, what did I put on YouTube? Shit. That it should not, excuse me, it should not be about race. No, race is race more important than justice. Because those niggas making it seem like race is more important in this situation than it is justice. But none of them motherfuckers never have heat, never have any type of kickback with their mouths to me or to the judge when we're holding these spaces and when they disagreeing. So maybe I'll save that title for Sunday.
Yeah, I'll have some time to actually see if they can come in too, because I think Lloyd hosts a space tonight. So I'll go in there. I might have to go in on an alt because I got blocked by one of the other co-hosts. So I might have to sneak in, but I'll be able to get the message out. And I don't think they'll shirk from this because they claim to want all the smoke and the sauce. So it can get real saucy, and I think they're about that action with theirs. So I'm excited to have them come and flesh this out.
but they're not going to come, and that's what I'm saying. They're not going to come. Um, and I think because a lot of people already know I could be very lethal with my mouth, but if there's disrespect. But what I'm saying is, when you have a black man, and you have a black man who is an expert or beyond an expert of the law, that is what he did majority of his life, of his time living. He's 79. Majority of his time spent working in the law. And you mean to tell me you want to have the audacity to hold the space as if he doesn't know what he's talking about?
And to
And,
say that he tricked off all his money and that's why he needs to do this, like it was just so disrespectful. It was crazy.
right. And so I think the title that I'm going to have for Sunday, I probably gonna have to put the judge name in the title. I don't know. I got to come up with a title. Maybe I got to come up with a title, because I need to get at niggas. I need to get at niggas, and I've been very nice. And so, but if he was a white man saying that shit, they will believe him. They will believe him. They wouldn't hold the space talking shit. Oh, he tricked off his money, trying to, belittle and downgrade. But because it's an educated black man, whether you like the answers or not, and he wasn't talking to people as if he knew what the outcome was going to be, because the case hasn't even started. They're still investigating it.
Yeah, he was just giving a legal analysis and literally applying the law. And we went over premeditation, which was, a major component of the first degree charge. And then they just what happens. What I've noticed, Dana, is that a lot of people, if they don't like what you have to say, automatically they shut down, and then they start with ad hominem attacks, attacking you personally, and then they run everything is then white supremacy and white privilege. And so they would even go as far as to say that Judge Joe was inducing or had some type of white privilege because of his position in the justice system for as many years when it was white controlled more so than now, and that was why he said the things he said. Like, it's totally divorced from reality. It's almost like Bizarro World, like almost like a Seinfeld episode.
Right. And so, and honestly, this case is still trending, and I'm surprised that it still is. I didn't think that, I didn't think that people would still be talking about it, because this stuff happens. This stuff, everyone is now muted. Did you mute? Oh, everyone.
I hit the button by accident.
Oh, this stuff is this type of incident happens a lot at all the high schools across this nation. But because it was a black boy that stabbed a white boy, you had these white content creators on X and everywhere else with White Lives Matter, making it a racial thing, and of course black people coming back saying no. We are going to have his back and make sure that he's not dragged. We're going to raise money for his defense, and so the outcome, it seems like everyone is making it about race, but I honestly, at the end of the day, I honestly believe that black people as a whole, the reason why he has over $300,000 already raised up, because they just want him to have a fair trial. And the consensus and the history, and what we always see throughout the media when it comes to a black person in this type of quote unquote high profile situation case, black people, especially black boys, don't have a fair trial. They're always stereotyped. They're always looked down upon in society. So to a certain degree, I understand why black people are harping on he's black, let's protect him type thing. But we also have to take things in perspective that we do have a justice system, and we want to see justice done. And the reality is, he's going to have to go to jail. He's going to have to do some time. Maybe it's 5 years. You know what I'm saying? But it's not the death penalty, and it's not life in prison without parole. So I'm curious to see what the prosecutors are going to ask for. And I realized that I made a decision that I'm definitely going to keep up with this case, because I think it's going to stay in the media. Hey,
Well,
Art and guys, please reshare, please
yeah,
post it
like,
out, because
retweet, and bookmark the space. And Dana, just real quick before we go to Art, we could look at the sentencing guideline range for this type of crime if it stays as a first degree murder charge, right? And then it goes in, and he does get indicted for it. If it's first degree, I don't see him getting 5 years. I would imagine a first degree charge is going to carry at a minimum a 20-year term. But again, I'll have to look up and do due diligence on it. But to your earlier point, I do think that you get a lot of people climbing out of the woodwork to grift off of this. I mean, look at the fortunes that were made off of the Black Lives Matter movement, started with Patrisse Cullors and the other two Marxists. And they're happily, handsomely retired now. They have multiple properties in different locations, and they were able to really just sail off into the sunset with that. So I think a lot of people see that same type of atmosphere here, and then they're looking to instill and really come with a heavy grift. And when things like this happen, you have to look at all the hucksters, the grifters, the shysters, and the chicanerists that come out of the woodwork to try to attach themselves to it. I mean, you heard Mark the other day saying he's ready to get people to go down to Texas. So he looks like he's positioning himself as the foremost leader for this. And I have to say there's got to be some type of monetary benefit behind it. And I'll leave it there, and then we can go to Art.
Go ahead, Art.
Yeah. Whether Carl Camelo Anthony goes to prison or not, stand your ground. I posted some stats on that. Um, trying to get to where it says here. So it's 45% when there's involving a white shooter killing a black victim, only 11% when it's a black person killing a white person. So can we get rid of stand your ground, or can the argument be made that Austin should have had a weapon? Maybe maybe the spin is currently wrong here, because people keep saying, well, Carmelo shouldn't have had a weapon. My argument is Austin should have had a weapon. Everybody there should have had a weapon. So
I think Art, also it comes to, in your case, I would agree with you. I think a more well-armed society is a more polite society, and I would actually replace it so that everyone's carrying firearms, including felons who've completed their term. But that's neither here nor there. We can go into that in another space. But I do think that stand your ground, which is a subset of self-defense, is not going to go anywhere, and I think it might even be expanded, because all stand your ground says is that you have no duty to retreat before using force, that you could use force first. Now, what Judge said the other day basically was the escalation of that force to using deadly force with a knife was, in his view, inappropriate in light of the threat that he faced, which was getting grabbed or potentially pushed or potentially punched. And so I think that is where this case is going to hinge. Absent other facts, we can't really make a determination on whether the first degree charge is going to stick or it's going to be downgraded at the grand jury to a manslaughter or murder too.
okay, so mm, yeah, it's just weird to me how somebody could travel. First of all, I told you manslaughter, I can imagine them getting, but they're trying to go for uh, premeditated, which is problematic because somebody who's supposed to be at a track field, who's known for carrying a knife because they've had a previous case where he carried a knife, versus somebody who wasn't known for carrying a gun, just going out carrying in the middle of somebody across 2 states and get self-defense. So, you got to start asking questions about how this stuff is being interpreted, because it is interpreted at the end of the day. We don't have civic law, right? So, where it's to the letter of the law and ambiguity is actually removed, right? Like from the law. So, there is no misconceptions. We don't have that. We have interpreted law, and it seems to interpret. And again, I put the data in the purple pill there. 45% to 11%, Peter. That's large. That is it working for black people? Is stand your ground working for black people in any capacity? And I would argue, if I seen two bigger people on me, at what point is it all right to pull your weapon out? Because when they're on top of you, when you can no longer get to it, perhaps when they get to it, like, and then if they use your own weapon against you, well, he shouldn't have carried a knife there. Come on, you already know that's what was said, right? Like, so it's just like, what is the right thing for a black person to do when in the middle of a white person? Like, should, police shoot you with your hands up? Like,
Well,
you
I
know what
think
I'm
we need
saying?
to,
So
Art, I think we need to look at the context of this case and where this occurred. This wasn't in a riot. This wasn't in a breakdown of civil order event. This was at a track meet where there was multiple witnesses around as well as adults and coaches. So to say that a person was going to be beaten to death, even by two people, and that's not what happened according to the police report, is a very, very far stretch. And I don't
did
think we
Kyle
can.
Rittenhouse? Did anybody have a gun?
Yes, actually, I'm glad you brought that up because we discussed that earlier. The Rittenhouse case is totally different from this case in that it was a riot. Judge spoke to that as well the other day, that in a riot event or a breakdown of civil order, the government is going to expect that you're going to, in most cases, use deadly force because deadly force is going to be used against you in a riot. And if you go and watch the video, he's attacked by multiple people. One tries to hit him with a skateboard, misses, and then after that individual he takes out with his AR. Another individual, as he's on the ground, stands over him, draws a pistol, and attempts to fire it. But Rittenhouse is nicer on the draw and is able to blow his bicep off, and he runs away.
And
And
also
I
the
think another.
state. Let me. And also, I believe the state that Kyle Rittenhouse was in at the time was open carry. Because
Correct,
if it
in
wasn't open
Wisconsin.
carry, then
So an open carry for a 17-year-old to be carrying an AK at a place he probably shouldn't have been. I mean, I see your point, Peter. So don't think I'm knocking that, but you do got to see that less rational minds to say it's not going to see it that way. And when the country's in another situation, I guess that Rittenhouse would be in because shit hits the point. Look what it did for George Floyd. And that wasn't a kid. So like, I'm just pointing this out. Like,
well, 1 second, Art, because I want to move around a little bit. I don't see Ellis anymore because LaFarmer. We're gonna go LaFarmer, Choke, and then Michael, um, to add into the discussion as well.
Yeah, is it on me, sis?
Yes.
What's up, Sister Dana? Yo, peace and blessings to you. You and the co-host Peter as well, Brother Art, Chunk, and Michael. I'll say this, I'm glad that I'm still trying to wait. Sister Dana, if I could be real, I'm looking for the damn press conference with some videos with like some testimonies the officers got. This has been what, almost what, 10 days, 11 days now, 12 days. I mean, shit, I don't know. Like, where's the press conference? Where's he's being charged with this? We got our evidence, and this is this. Like, it's almost like they don't want to say what they got because they might not really got much. If you catch my drift, like I remember press conferences coming 2 or 3 days after something, no more than a week. Here we are going on almost 2 weeks. What were you gonna say, Sister Dana?
No, I was agreeing with you because I did a show yesterday, and that black guy who I guess he's a friend of the family's from some Metro something National Action
You
Network. The
talk about
black,
that pastor? Yeah, I think
yeah.
he had
So he
pastor
was
stuff. Yeah, I
actually
seen
he
that.
held the press conference, saying that he spoke with the police because the Carmelo Anthony families were receiving death threats, and I said, well, that's the job of the sheriff or the police department to hold the press conference about death threats and giving us an update on whether they have all the evidence or not. You don't have to say, well, this is what happened. Just say, listen, this is still under investigation, blah, 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 blah. But we want everyone to remain calm, and there's a tragedy on both sides, whatever. They didn't say anything, and you're right, I agree with you. Why haven't they come out and said anything, any press conference? Because this already done made national news, and this is going to continue to stay in national news. And national news, what I mean by that is us here on X, social media. We trump legacy media. So everyone is still talking about this, and everyone is on edge. And it just came out today in the New York Post. I saw a death penalty, and I was like, wait a minute. They said he will not, but then I read it, and it said he will not be charged and cannot be charged with the death penalty or life in prison because he's 17. And the DA Willis, so funny, he does not have the case yet on his desk because the police are still doing investigations. And I know they did say they have a whole bunch of witnesses. And then now they're saying they have multiple videotapes. And then also, we don't know if they had prior issues between each other the day before or hours before. So, to your point, LaFarmer, I agree with you. And maybe this situation is not cut and dry as some may think it
Yeah,
is.
Dana, I think it is,
Well,
and Judge touched on this the other day, that the prosecutor's office wants to cover their ass. At the end of the day, this hasn't gone to the grand jury yet, and so what could happen is if they release this information, it could prejudice the grand jury, the people that they're going to pluck from the community to actually sit for this, and then that could come back on appeal. And so I think what they're trying to do is button everything up, keep everything close to the vest, and hold on everything until it goes to the grand jury. They secure an indictment, and even then, you might not see it because, again, you don't want to prejudice the jury pool. Because then, what could happen is if Carmelo does lose at trial and gets convicted, it gives the defense an opening and an opportunity to come back and file a motion and say, "Well, he didn't have a fair trial because the police and the prosecutor's office released this information. It prejudiced the jury against my client, and now we need a whole new trial." So I think by them circling the wagon, so to speak, and keeping the information close to the vest, they're avoiding that potentiality.
You think they're still gonna go
that
for
well
capital?
at the same time, with the points that was just given, that didn't happen with the Amber Geiger case. They was very quick to go ahead and make it known, Amber Geiger is a resident. She walked in, and this was the statement from the police. And they did so, and that was one of the last racial charged incidences in Texas, and they gave a statement like 2 or 3 days later. The reason that I had brought that up was to go ahead to show that I don't think they have a substantial case. And that's the part that I was going to hit at, because they charged too high out the gate, right? They came out saying murder one, and they're going to charge him as an adult and he could get the death penalty. Well, people like Art have already been on here and many others saying no matter how much you want to charge him as an adult, or if you think you're going to do that, that still doesn't break the constitutional line, which is drawn, that says no minor under the age of 18 will be held for any type of death penalty, or will be held for life in prison. Like that's not what this country believes in. That's not the Supreme Court law. That's not the supreme law of the land. So the fact that people were saying this without understanding the constitutionality of it then has to give rise to the self-defense claim, which also is a constitutional right in the state of Texas. And when somebody claims that, that claim is a defense, which then places the burden of the case to be tried on the prosecutor. And what the prosecutor has to do is to make the case that no crime or no breach of the law had been committed on part of the victim
You're,
in any way.
you're actually
So
wrong. You're
before,
wrong
no, so,
about that, LaFarma. You're wrong about that.
oh, okay, all right. Well, well, I'll finish this part. You
Go
can
ahead.
tell me where I
Sure.
was wrong at. So with the part of, and this is just from what I had studied up on and just learned from. So I could be misinterpreted or incorrect, but I'll say my part first. The part about it is that a victim of a crime has the right to claim this. And one thing that has not been discussed, people want to call it a grab or a light. His brother's words was that a little scuffle shouldn't have ended with my brother's life. A little altercation, a scuffle. Who's to gauge the size or scope of the interaction? But that clearly showed what the father said and what the incident, what has been reported is that Carmelo Anthony did not aggravate, touch, assault, threaten, or do anything to any of these guys first. And even if so, that he did make any type of command where they say, touch me and see what happens, that's no different than a command that is given to tell a person that I can repel your threat or I oppose it, and that warning should be understood. That's what something that I heard this morning when I was listening to the Tim Cast. But the thing I was saying is this: he didn't commit a crime, and the crime that was first committed was actually the assault, which is to touch a person's property or person and move them in a manner with aggression or in a physical to create physical manner. So when he touched him, that actually was a crime. So Austin responded to that crime the way he saw fit, and it's up to him and the jury to decide whether he was from a position that was proportional to the threat. And then I'll go ahead and say this to finish it. The crime that was committed from the victim stance, and this is something that I agree that a lot of people was getting upset about with Tim Pool about this morning, was that unless you're willing to say that self defense has to have a mechanism where I have to now go ahead and say my thought for that threat at that time has to now be brought into speculation or question. You have to then assert that the threat that was coming was lawful. And if the threat that was coming was not lawful, then my response can only be lawful. And that's the part that the conversation really wraps itself at, because under the doctrine of self-defense, anytime you're going ahead, long as you didn't tell a person any type of act that would push them to say that, touch me and I'll blow your head off type shit, what I mean, like stuff like that, where you didn't provoke them, or just come here, come outside and see what he told them, don't touch me, leave me alone, touch me again and see what I do. And so that type of conversation means that an assault took place, and an assault is a criminal act, and that criminal act cannot be used as an act towards the other side. But that's why I landed at.
I'm gonna go to Choke, then Michael.
Dana, can I just correct what he said about the
Go
affirmative
ahead. Yeah,
Yeah,
defense?
yeah.
yeah,
I,
Dana.
I,
Yeah, let him go, and you can let Michael go, and I'll come in later.
Perfect. I just put it up in the nest actually, so you could check it out with self defense of affirmative and a affirmative defense for a self defense, right? So what happens is the burden of proof is always on the prosecutor to prove their case against the defendant. The defendant has to do nothing except sit there, except when they're asserting an affirmative defense. So the affirmative defense means the burden switches to the defendant, and the defendant must prove that their actions were reasonable and proportionate for self defense. And so in this case, when you just said the assault was going to be giving rise to his mental state to then say that he is going to determine that he needed to use deadly force in that situation, they're going to use what's called a reasonable person standard, which is what the court will tell the jury needs to be applied when you're looking at this through the lens of someone who needed to use deadly force in this situation. When we spoke with the judge about it a couple of days ago, he said he didn't see it, and he actually supported the assertion of a first-degree murder charge being filed because of the prompting or goading. So what you said was a warning was actually and can actually be viewed as prompting or goading the individual to use force, which then provides a pretext for you to then take out the knife and use a deadly weapon and then assert self-defense. So in other words, I'm telling you, yeah, touch me, see what happens. So then in the police report, it says he touched him. After he touched him, he said, punch me and see what happens, basically ratcheting up the level of intensity and inciting him to move further. So he could provide a further pretext to say, I was just defending myself, which in fact he does say that as a spontaneous utterance as the police officers are bringing him to the squad car. So I think this is going to be a very, very difficult case to defend because of those statements and also because of the forensic digital evidence they're collecting with over 17 witnesses that they've taken their cell phones from are processing that information, as well as potential text messages from any event that might have happened before, which is unsubstantiated, we uncorroborated, but we've heard reports that there was a fight between these two or three individuals prior to this, and this could be potentially Carmelo going to get his get back, which would be the cooling off period, and then him continuing to persist, which would give the first degree murder charge, and I'll land there.
Well, the father said that they didn't know each other, and the brother verified that as well,
Yeah,
and
but that's
and
just what
Tony
he's
as well.
saying. He
Yeah,
could be
I know
saying
that,
that
but
to,
I'm saying, but I'm saying that they didn't know each other, and him saying that doesn't help his son, right?
Mhm.
To go with what you were saying, so that's why.
Um, okay, I'm gonna go to Michael, then Duncan. Um, and if anybody want to request to come up, please do so.
Hey, what's going on, Dana?
Hey, how are you?
How you doing? Yeah, I believe Carmelo got about like it's like a 40% chance. Like I believe he got like a 60% chance of beating this and a 40% chance of going to jail. And that just depends on how they view how he stood his ground. Like if they take it as if he the knife was unjustified, then I believe he might go to jail. And I believe if he go to jail, he's gonna do about like 10 years, honestly. Like it ain't life, but I believe he, you know what I'm saying, got like a 40% chance of going to jail. That's just my take.
So, Michael, in your estimation, he has a better chance of beating this first degree murder charge than getting convicted.
Yeah, just because of how the law. I mean, he kind of gotta you still gotta abide by the law. Like he kind of did stand his ground, but it wasn't right. Like a lot of us just saying like, yeah, he should have fought him, but at the same time, he kind of followed the law. Like it's a loophole in it. You get what I'm saying? Like I believe, yeah, he got about like 65% actually.
You're an optimist in this one because I think 60%. Well, I'm gonna do 80%. He's going to do jail time. How much? I don't know. Now, I would say 60% that he won't be charged on first degree, but I'm saying 80% he's going to go to prison. It's just
80%. Damn.
because
But
I would
somebody
but
say
but Mr.
died.
90. I
Dana,
would say
remember,
90. I would say 90
but
10.
I
but
would
this
say
is the part.
90%
This is
manslaughter.
But this is the part that I would say though. Just even in that, right? That's what they said about Kyle defense. That's what they said about Kyle Rittenhouse. That if you're saying he had the right to self-defense, he can't be charged with any of those other charges
That yo, you know what's crazy,
because that
LaFarm?
was the
Well,
part
okay, so
because
this
that's the
is so
part
so
right there that the
so
whole case
so
is
let me
hinging
say
on,
this one
and I
second.
think that that's the stalling part as
Right. So
well.
let me
So
say
go ahead.
this. So let me say this, and then I'm gonna go to Duncan. You're right. But the thing is, all of us up here again, we're just speculating because if the defense can prove self-defense, then yes, he'll get off, or it'll be all the way downgraded to what, felony probation or what have you. And that's what the defense is going to have to prove, self-defense, right? I just think for me, what the little bit of stuff that we have that came out, it's not so much looking like self-defense, and that is because we really don't know much at all. So it's like a puzzle that's scrambled everywhere, and we're trying to put the pieces together, but the people that need to be giving us the pieces is the police, and they didn't even held the press conference. So I want to go to Duncan, then D, then I'll swing back to you, Cho.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? What's up, Daniel? Um,
Hey.
now I remember they had. Can y'all hear me? Hold on, hold on.
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear
We,
you,
we,
bro.
we can hear you now.
Can
I
y'all
can
hear
hear you,
me?
Duncan. Yeah, I can hear you,
We
bro.
can hear you.
All right, let me go to D, and because I guess he has to work
Duncan, you
out.
might need to drop and come back up.
I don't even know if I can be heard. Can y'all hear me?
Oh, tell him to drop down because he can't hear us. Then we can hear him, but he
Yeah,
can't hear us.
I'm gonna drop down and come back up.
All right, I'm gonna go to D, and then when Duncan come back up, we'll go back to Duncan after D. Go ahead, D.
Hey, how are you? I actually don't really have too
Mhm.
much to add. I just got on here. I was just trying to update myself on what was going on. But as far as how much time he's going to get, I don't know. It could be anywhere between 4 to 40 years. That all depends on uh what the charges are. I wouldn't say 90, 10, or 80, 20. 100% he's doing time. How much? Don't know how much. And I think that as far as the law goes, uh I think that because Austin didn't have a deadly weapon, it was like he begged for him to hit him and antagonized it, and then he he did put his hands on him. And I'm seeing that there's pushing, the word pushing, or the word grabbing, or the word touching. Regardless, he, like, kind of like what the judge said the other day, he really had to have dug that knife in there regardless of the size. So I think he's gonna do some time. I think he's gonna do more than 10.
Mhm.
But you know what? If he does get self-defense and that goes through, what are you charging him with?
I don't
Right,
think that this
right.
is grounds for self-defense because it wasn't two boys didn't attack him. And there's actual footage. It just has not been released yet. So two boys did not hit him. He wasn't being jumped. He wasn't being beaten. And we can see by the video, I mean, the photo that when he was being taken away, I mean, it's very blurry, but it didn't really look like he was beaten up. And it just said that the statement says it was just like either a push or a grab, and
But
or so that just that
But are you
alone.
counting? But are you counting that as an assault? Because I'm noticing the language in this conversation that makes it really that makes it kind of like oblivious to the fact that that first charge of assault is not from Carmelo. That's from the Austin brother, and I
Yeah,
think
but
we're
with his
trying to
hands.
downplay it.
We
Yeah, I think we're
we
trying
have
to
to remember it
downplay it
was with
because
hands.
it doesn't matter because assault. I could go up to a police officer that works at the White House. If I push them, I could go ahead and get shot. If you go ahead and remember the girl that was chopped, that was trying to jump through the window, she didn't do anything.
Right.
I
We
forgot
can't
what her
see.
name
The
was,
thing is
But
that
LaFarmer,
but
that
she
was a
tried.
riot.
the thing
That was a
is that
riot.
we have to
But
stop.
what I'm
We
trying to
have to
say
stop
is
doing
that
is putting other
when she when
cases
she tried
involved
when
in
she
this.
tried to jump
but
through the
you
window, she didn't have a weapon and she still got her brains blown out because of the fact that when she went through there, the fact of her body being in that area was the threat. So I
Where
think
was
that when you
this?
have us
Where
when
did
you
she go into a
that
house?
happened
In
in
the
the
Capitol.
Capitol.
No, no, this is
That
in
happened in the
J6.
Capitol.
He's talking about January
That was at
6th.
Oh,
the
oh, I don't
Capitol.
even.
Yeah, she
So
didn't have a weapon. So I
all
think
right,
it
but
was
we're talking about a cop. This is somebody. This is somebody. A security. This is we're not talking. When I'm this is the thing. So there's a big problem going on right now with everybody using other scenarios and other. First of all, that's not even the same state. Every state has different laws. So you can't
well,
combine
stand
and
your
do.
ground, no
but
duty
D
to retreat is the same thing, D. That's what I'm saying.
D
Well,
Stand your
see, but
ground, no
this
duty to
okay.
retreat.
So,
Is that
but
that's
this
what
is,
I'm
but
using.
you
Go
guys are
ahead.
talking under the assumption that he was fleeing from a situation where he was being attacked. We don't know that. See, that's again, that still is all speculation. But at the end of the day, somebody died by the hands of Carmelo Anthony,
right.
so he is going to do some time. There are a lot of people who defended themselves in self-defense, like in New Jersey, because they don't have stand your ground and none of that, but they still defended themselves. And you might as well say a lot of them were in the right, but because that other person they were defending themselves against died by their hands, I think you get manslaughter or something, but you still do.
Yeah, manslaughter is one of the things that can
so
come up,
so
sis, in
again
that.
so
But
so so this whole, like, again, like I said, this whole conversation is speculation. But what is for sure, and I said it at the beginning, that came out today, he cannot be charged. They can't, the DA office cannot, the prosecutors cannot ask for the death penalty, and he cannot get life in
Correct.
prison. So that came
I,
out
Correct.
today.
I,
And the DA Willis, oh my God, he said he has not received the case in his office yet because the police are still investigating. And Monday is Carmelo Anthony's first hearing in front of a judge. And that is where the lawyer is going to ask and request for the bail to be lowered.
So I just
So
looked
I
it
have
up
a
too.
I want to
question.
ask. I want
Hold
to
on
ask something.
one
Hold on.
second, guys. Hold on. I just want to read the law. So first degree murder sentences in Texas, if he did get convicted of first degree murder, it carries a very wide range, as little as 5 years, all the way up to 99 years. So that's the range, which is an insane range. But that is what he would be facing if he does get convicted. Go ahead.
So
yeah,
But I
also
want to
I
hold
seen
up.
but
Hold
four
up.
to
even in
Wait.
44.
So it's, I want Dee to finish up her points, and then I have to go to Duncan. So go ahead.
To your point, actually, I as far as him, he obviously can't get life. I mean, and he can't get the death penalty. And I didn't even see anybody saying anything about the death penalty. Today was the first day. But as far as he can be, they did say, I read in one of these articles that they can charge him as an adult and not a minor, because when you're 17 in the state of Texas, you can be charged as an adult. And I seen that it can go from 4 years to 44 years.
Right. So to your point, real quick, D. Right, and I thought that's kind of weird because he is charged as an adult, but because he's 17, it was in the New York Post, this article, but because he's 17 in the state of Texas, under 18 cannot get death penalty, even charged as an adult, and you cannot get life in prison without parole, even if you're charged as an adult when you're under 18. So
right.
And they, but that thing for 4 years to 99 years, that's crazy. That's a big ass gap. So
I
Insane.
seen 4 to 44,
No,
4 to
five,
44. So they
okay,
can
five,
go ahead
fi-
and give him like 20.
5 to 99. And I'm looking at this guy, Michael and Associates. I'll put it in the nest, but it says first degree murder, killing with intention and premeditation. A typical first degree murder sentence is 25 years to life in prison.
I think he's gonna get 25. I think he's
Yeah,
gonna get 25.
I say around
Listen,
20.
listen. You guys are. The part that I wanted you to answer, Dana, was the part of if he is given his self-defense, what are you charging him with? And you're
but
So
saying
that's
a
that's
dead
another
body
thing.
and
That's a
so we
good
manslaughter.
don't
point. That's a
know.
good
But
question.
this is what happened.
Maybe
Remember
five
what happened
years,
in
LaFarmer.
Rittenhouse. Well, remember
But
what happened in Rittenhouse. Remember how the attorney came out with that shit? It was almost like the slam dunk at the end of
okay,
the
so
case, and
right,
it was like,
I get
whoa, if
LaFarmer.
he's
All right,
not
so
given.
you're wait 1 second, LaFarmer, because I have
Go
to
ahead,
give a
sis. Go
Duncan.
ahead.
You were referencing Kyle Rittenhouse, and I get that. But again, Kyle Rittenhouse, he got off because of self defense or stand your ground, and that's in another state. So let's just say Carmelo can use self defense, but in Texas, say he cannot use stand your ground, which is kind of like two
Both of
different
them there
things.
though, but
So
they
he
both
may let
exist
me
though, don't
finish.
they?
Stop. You gotta let me finish, and I have to
Yeah,
go
I
to
know, but I
Duncan.
want you to include all of it. I don't want you to separate because they're not separate, right?
Yes,
Self
they are
defense and stand your
separated.
ground.
They no, they're
Okay,
separated. They're
but
separated.
Kyle
They're
Rittenhouse have both.
separated. They're
Okay.
separated. They're separated. And I'm going to quote someone who is a legal expert, Judge Joe Brown, even though niggas, not you, LaFarmer, but certain niggas want to sit up here and hold spaces and try to belittle what the fuck he was saying on Tuesday. A legal expert, Judge Joe Brown, did say it's a difference between stand your ground and self-defense. Maybe not by much, but it is a difference. For all you niggas out there that got a problem when a black man who's an expert in his field actually are stating facts, but that's for Sunday. But anyway, let me go to Duncan, and then I'll go to FFP.
But wait, he also,
I,
I
Dana,
thought it
hold
was
up, hold up, hold up,
I
hold
thought
up,
it
hold
was
up.
Chokma.
I wanted to answer LaFarmer's question though
You
before
cycling me, Dana? What's going on?
Oh, I did
no,
say I was swing. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna swing back to Choke, then FFP after Duncan. But okay.
yeah,
What you were saying, Peter?
his question, right, about why it's different. It's in the nest. It's up there, and it talks about self defense versus stand your ground. Basically, stand your ground is a subcategory or a subset of self defense. So I think what you're getting confused by is he could assert self defense. The jury's job is to accept it. If the jury doesn't accept that it was reasonable and proportionate, there is no self defense, and they'll convict him of either first degree or, if they have the charge available to them, second
But
degree
but
murder.
but you're missing the first part, which is the crime cannot be committed on the other party. If the other party commits a crime, you can't. The self defense is absolute because what are you defending yourself from if not a crime?
No,
Nothing
you're
from
not
that
right.
perspective.
You're not,
Another thing is
Okay.
you're
the
wrong.
reasonable belief of threat,
Yeah. All right.
because
Fin-
it was him and his brother there.
Yeah, he thought he was
He
getting
could
shot.
win off of
That's
that.
proper. Yeah.
well, we
Like,
What
don't.
for
was
real.
All
Obama gonna do?
right. I want to go to Duncan. Go ahead,
Yeah, let's
Duncan,
go to
and
Duncan. We
then
can come
Choke,
back
and
to
then
it.
FFP.
All right, yeah. I remember in the other room there was some people saying. I think the judge said it, and other people agreed. Well, if he was being attacked by multiple attackers, he could get stand your ground, and there would be proper amount of force that he used if he was being attacked by multiple attackers. And I shared today. I don't know if it's legitimate, but that's what I seen. So I'm not saying it's legitimate, but that's what I seen, and who knows, right? But it was an eyewitness that said that that guy came. I think Austin came from his tent up under another tent
Austin came from
to
another tent. He came
harass,
from another tent submission to the memorial tent.
yeah, to instigate the fight. So regardless of him saying, "Hey, touch me and see what happened," that's you did not have to leave your tent to come over to that tent to mess with Carmelo. And then it depends on they have to have like Ebonics have to like people who understand Ebonics and black American conversation and catchphrases have to know what that man's saying when he's saying touch me and see what happened. Most people that say they're just like saying stop or I will shoot. You saying halt or I will shoot.
Or Duncan, I wouldn't
You
do that
know,
if I was you.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that if I was you. Good, good, yeah, like that. So, and like what I'm hearing is like people pushing the goalposts. Like at first they was like, okay, well, if it was more than one person, because this recorded, that was said in this space. If it was more than one person, I would agree that there's proper amount of force, and that makes sense to use a knife. And when they were saying that when they thought it was just one person, but now here it is, two people. And y'all was saying the other day, if it was two people, that makes sense to use a knife. But now, it's like I don't know, it's like moving the goalposts and just, I don't know. And another thing is, I checked after I was talking to Judge O'Brown. Texas do have a youthful offender status. They have a youthful offender program in Texas. So if he does get youth manslaughter, he can get probation, as the judge said, and do his 3 years, and that won't even be on his record.
But
Duncan,
does
I
that
agree with
apply
you.
if
So,
you're being charged as an adult? The youth thing can't apply if you're being charged as an
No,
adult.
Dana, it does. It does
It
because
does?
youthful
Okay,
yeah, he
okay.
can.
youthful
Yeah,
offender status goes up to 25 years old.
Okay.
Basically, it's saying that it's
yep.
because of somebody's youth, even if they are charged an adult, a young person in the eyes of the law in the penal system is considered somebody up to 25. That they have more rehabilitation ability about them than someone who's an older offender because that person has a more sound and developed mind. That is why they have
Okay.
a youthful offender
And,
program. And
and they
Duncan,
also
Okay,
look
that
at
makes sense.
prior records too as well, sis, to make
Right.
sure that
And
correct.
he has no
they're not a
priors.
repeat offender,
So
And
and make sure
Duncan,
they
I
have no
agree with you
priors as
because I
well.
did say that if it is a 2-on-1 scenario, deadly force is justified. So again, we don't. But if we look at the police report, we don't have.
But it was a witness, it was an eyewitness that said it was more than one
Okay, well we'll
attacker.
wait.
They said the eyewitness said that his brother was attacking, and not only was his brother attacking, they left their tent to
No,
come
they
over
didn't
there
leave
and
their.
mess
They
with
didn't.
him.
They
He
no,
wasn't
Duncan.
even.
They didn't leave their tent. They left another tent and went to their tent. But a lot of students went to a lot of people's tent due to the weather. That's what happened. That's what he
right.
had stated
All right.
because
So give me a
he
second.
said he was looking at his two daughters that was under the tent, and that's
All
what
right.
made his eyes go
All right, one
because
second,
he
one
Mm-hmm.
was
second.
watching his
I have
daughter.
to I have to go to choke and then I have to go to FFP. Before I go to you choke real quick, someone in YouTube watch me says Dana has a suspected white supremacist co-hosting. No, I don't. I never seen Peter before. I don't believe he's a white supremacist. Peter, are you a white supremacist?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely, unequivocally not.
Well, if he's a white supremacist that works for a black person because he's co-hosting and I'm the one who hosting, so wouldn't that make him under me? I don't know.
And you listen. You're really you make me work hard here. So and I'm trying to
Exactly.
earn
Like
it. Yeah.
he's good with the research on and in real time because I'm working the tech part of it. So yeah. So yeah.
Oh, hey,
Someone's calling
Sister
me a white
Dana,
supremacist.
is he a DEI hire or is he actually legitimately able to
And
host
then
a spot?
he's actually a DE. Peter is a DEI hire. Yes, he will be a DEI hire.
I got in under
Um.
the Sicilian appreciation program.
Yes. By way of Italy. Yes. Go ahead, choke, and then FFP.
Hey, what's going on, Dana? Um,
Hey.
so I like to use common sense, when evaluating anything first. Um, and then, of course, like real time analysis. Uh, so with the thing, touch me and you'll find out, or touch me or whatever. Carmelo said, like what would prompt him to say that? That's a reply, to whatever was going on. You see what I'm saying? So that right there in itself, a threat can be perceived. Even when the whole story hasn't come out. That's what we have. You know what I mean? And that comes from, the people that were there, saying, they heard him saying, hey, touch me, you'll find out. And another thing is, these cell phones are gonna these cell phones are gonna hold a lot of weight. You see what I'm saying? Because one of the brothers was there, right? And then the other brother came to the tent. Is that how it works?
That's what that is. So in
No,
the initial,
both
hold
of
on.
them were
Let
there.
me let me give you what's in the police report, and I'll put it in the nest so you guys can read it on your own. But I'll give it to you now how I remember
I
it.
can also play his brother's
Yeah.
Okay.
words
So
exactly.
in the police report, it says that they were under the memorial tent, and that
Hmm.
Carmelo came to the memorial tent and sat down. At that point, he was approached by Austin, who told him he needed to move because he didn't belong there. He then what happened after that was Carmelo told Austin. Or Carmelo said, I'm not moving," basically, and stayed. He then approached him again. Carmelo said, "Touch me and see what happens." As he's saying, "Touch me and see what happens," he's reaching into his bag. The witness that said this said nobody really thought that Carmelo had a weapon. So then, so Austin then goes up and touches. We don't know how the touch happened. He touches Carmelo. Carmelo then says, "Punch me and see what happens." So imagine in your mind.
Hmm.
So you're telling somebody, "Touch me and see what happens," and they go up and they touch you lightly, and then you say, "All right, you're going to touch me like that? Okay, no doubt. Punch me and see what happens." And then after he says, "Punch me and see what happens," in the police report, it says that Austin grabbed Carmelo, and that is when Carmelo pulled the knife out and plunged it into his chest. And
Okay,
I'll put it in the nest.
so I mean, that's not a when someone is saying like, "Hey, touch me and see what happens." That's not a request. I'm not requesting that you touch me. I'm actually giving you a warning. You see what I'm saying? I'm telling you like, "Hey, touch me and see what happens." Like that is a warning. That is not a request to come over and put your hands on me. I'm telling you the opposite. You see what I'm saying? And
And
so
Chokma, neither is it a provocation to
there
touch
you
you.
go. There you go.
That's
That's
the
not.
part people are trying to, the
Yeah, but you're saying that. What do you think the prosecutor is going to say about this to the
Well,
jury? And
hold on. Let me dig into this a little bit. So the thing is, uh, have y'all actually read like the stand your ground, like the Castle Doctrine and all that for Texas? Like, have y'all done that like
yes,
out loud?
it's in the nest. It's up in the nest. I could read it out loud if you want.
Okay, I'm gonna read it out loud,
Okay.
right? So in Texas, the stand your ground law, also known as the Castle Doctrine, means you don't have a duty to retreat before using force, including deadly force and self-defense if you believe you are in imminent danger. This applies as long as you are lawfully present in the location and are not provoking the situation. Key aspects of the Texas stand your ground law: no duty to retreat. You don't have to try to escape or retreat before using force, including deadly force, if you reasonably believe it's necessary to protect yourself from immediate harm. Reasonable belief of danger. The use of force, including deadly force, must be justified by a reasonable belief that it is immediately necessary to protect yourself from another person's use or attempted use of deadly force. Okay, questionable. Proportional force. The amount of force used must be proportional to the threat you are facing. Questionable. Lawful presence. You must be in a place where you have a legal right to be, e.g., your home, vehicle, workplace, for the stand your ground law to apply. No provocation. You cannot have provoked the situation leading to the need for self defense. Castle Doctrine. The Texas Castle Doctrine further expands on the stand your ground law, allowing for the use of force, including deadly force, to defend yourself and your property within your home without a duty to retreat. Uh, let's see. Use of deadly force. Deadly force can be used in self defense if you reasonably believe it's necessary to prevent the imminent commission of certain violent crimes such as aggravated kidnapping, murder, sexual assault, robbery, or aggravated robbery. And burden of proof. In Texas, the burden of proof in self defense cases rests on the defendant, who must provide evidence to support their claim of self defense. The prosecution then has the burden of disproving the self defense claim beyond a reasonable doubt. So, listen, reading all that, the GoFundMe is absolutely necessary because the lawyer is about to be in for a fight, right? The lawyer is about to be in. This is going to be a fight. This ain't gonna be no easy 1, 2, 3 trial and it's over. Because Carmelo has to prove, of course, that his life was in danger, that he didn't provoke it. Um, you know, which just listening to the police report, someone coming up and putting their hands on you, uninvited, you know, that is an issue, right? Um,
And Cho, can you read the part again about proportionality? Because that's the most important part. That is what the jury is going to be considering, proportionality. Imagine being in that
yeah,
jury room, right?
I,
Good.
yeah, I thought about that. The amount of force used must be proportional to the threat you are facing. Yeah, that's kind of tough. I ain't gonna lie. You know,
No, it's not, dude. Two big ass linebackers trying to attack you.
yeah, I
Bad
mean, but
injury,
see, hold on, hold
punching
on, hold on,
hard.
FFP, hold on, FFP. You know, you're right, but what I'm saying is we haven't gotten all the facts yet. So, you know, pending the facts or pending, you know, new evidence or whatever, you know, let's just assume that these two brothers or whatever the case is, you know, tried to attack this boy. You know, the father just came out and said that none of that happened. You know, he's saying that, oh, none of that happened. The phone wasn't broke. No one attacked him. All this kind of stuff. You know, they're saying that it didn't happen. But that's why I said the cell phones are going to be, you know, critical. And I also wanted to know, like, what was the guy, the boy that got killed? What was his name?
Austin
Austin
Metcalf.
Metcalf.
Metcalf. Okay, so Metcalf, you know, did he come over there on his own, or did somebody text him and said, "Come over here"? You know, all these things are gonna come into account. You see what I'm saying? Like you have to take all that into account. So this thing is gonna be wide open, and I'm not gonna condemn Carmelo prematurely, and I'm not gonna say he's gonna get off prematurely, but I'm leaning in the direction of, you know, hey, he stood his ground because I've seen worse cases than this, you know, in my lifetime. And, you know, shit. Zimmerman stalked Trayvon Martin. You know what I mean? He
And
stalked
he
him.
was unarmed.
Yeah, he stalked him like an animal. And then he claimed stand your ground. You see what I'm saying? But yet we have another case, and this is Florida. We have another case, which is Florida. And I think there was a sister that got like she shot in the air or something like that, you know, and she couldn't even get stand your ground for that. They locked her up for shooting in the air.
So
20
And
choke.
years.
So choke. Somebody grabs you like, in this situation. You're pulling out a knife and plunging it in their chest.
I'm gonna be real with you, bro. I've been in situations like that, and you know, the shit could have got really bloody, really, really fast. You know what I mean? But I'm a bigger guy.
especially if it's two
Yeah, but
people.
Self
I'm a
defense.
bigger guy, you know, and you know, I'm not gonna run from you. So you know, we're gonna do our thing. But there's been situations. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. There was a situation where I was I was outmanned, but I wasn't outgunned. You see what I'm saying? Like you're not about to beat on me. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm not gonna let two grown men or whatever beat on me, bro. It's not happening.
Two
So
And you think a jury and I'm not trying to be condescending, but you honestly think a jury of your peers would agree with you in
All it
that
take is
respect?
one. All it take is one.
Uh, I mean, I hope they would agree with me because let's just say the tables would turn. I mean, let's just say uh, you know, it could be anybody, bro. Say it's not me. You see what I'm saying? I wouldn't want two people. I wouldn't want to see two people jump on one person, uh, and that one person. Like, you don't have the advantage, bro. Like
What
you,
if it's
you.
one on one? What if it's not two people? What if it's one on one, like it says in the police report?
It wasn't
It's
one
not
on
Where are you?
one.
just
Wait, hold on,
Now,
hold
if
on,
it's
one.
one
hold
on,
I
on.
witnessed.
if,
Witness.
I witnessed.
Hold on a second, because we're going by the police report. We're not going on hearsay evidence, which is what you're saying when you're jumping in saying it wasn't one on one. So if we go by the police report, just humor me. I know it's difficult, but humor me here. Let's say it is one on one. Choke, please, when I unmute, explain to me how it would be justified to pull a knife out for a one on one fight.
okay. So here's the thing. So I was always taught, you know, from a youth, if you know that you're about to get into a fight, or you believe someone is about to attack you, you draw first blood. You know what I mean? You put them down first. You put your hands on them first. Like you don't wait. Listen, bro. My father taught me at a young age because he knew I was going to grow up to be a bigger kid, and he taught me. He said, listen. He said you have to be careful how you put your hands on people. And he would always say, he said, you don't know your strength, right? He said, you're young. He said, you don't know your strength yet. He said, you can really seriously hurt somebody by hitting them in certain spots. Like if you hit somebody in the chin, you see what I'm saying? Versus hitting somebody squarely on the jaw. If you hit them on the chin with the right appropriate amount of force, it rattles their brain. You see what I'm saying? You can put them in a concussion. You can break their neck. You can do all these different. You can kill them. If somebody hits you square between the eyes in the right spot, you can also kill them. You understand? If somebody hits you in your sternum in the correct spot, they can actually kill you.
Yeah,
You see
or
what I'm saying?
the temple. Yep, the temple. You
So,
could do
Yes.
the
all
same
right.
thing. Yeah.
So, one second. I'm going to move it along. I'm going to go to FFP, then I'm going to swing back to D, then FBA, and Henrietta.
But wait,
Other,
he didn't answer the question. So if it's one on one, what was your answer? A knife is appropriate is for someone who grabs you if it's just one on one.
Uh, I mean, me personally. I mean, I'm like I said, I was a bigger kid, but at the same time, like if these guys outweigh me, I feel like I'm at a disadvantage. Damn, a knife to the chest is harsh. I'm not gonna lie, that shit is harsh, bro.
Now
But
think about
but
selling
but
that to a jury, Choke. Think about selling that to a jury.
yeah, I'm hearing it. I'm hearing what you're saying. But at the same time, you're a bigger kid. You see what I'm saying? You have the advantage also.
all
Okay,
right.
fair enough. Let's keep it
So,
moving. Who's
F,
next, Dana?
FFP, then D, then FBA, and Henrietta. And then I'll swing back and see Michael got his hand up as well. Go ahead, FFP.
Thank you, Dana. Thank you. Long time fan, by the way.
Thanks.
Shout out to Jap as well. Long time fan. Um, I just want to say that to answer that question for my boy Choke, if you weigh 150 pounds more than me, a good 4 or 5 inches more than me, I'm not playing with nobody big. So let's just leave it at that. I think he did what he was supposed to do. He showed amazing restraint. Only stabbed him once. You know what I'm saying? I probably wouldn't have went for the chest, but he's a young kid, and we don't know how that played out. Maybe even he was trying to get him off him. So one stab, I mean, that's amazing restraint. That's going to be brought up as well during the deliberations if it goes that far. I think it needs to be charges need to be dropped down. It's not first degree murder. He didn't go to his house, and it's not planned, and so yeah, that's just like obviously a lie. It's not first degree murder. I think he was innocent, and if you're here and you're listening, and you know that he's innocent, drop some money in that give send go. So when he beats the case, he can drive to practice in a Porsche 911. Something nice. I think we really need to be looking out for this kid. He's one of ours. People who say, "Oh, death penalty." I expect that from a certain demographic to want the death penalty for a child. I expect that for a certain demographic, but I don't expect that for FBA. Okay, self-defense. If you look at the report, it said that he grabbed them. If a linebacker grabs you, what are you gonna do? You're a student. You know what I mean? You're not a faculty member. Who do you think you are to tell somebody they don't belong in that tent? And from
So
my
what? Let
knowledge,
me
is
let
he
me
had
let me ask
friends.
you something. FFP. You said he's one of us. What does that mean?
He's a foundational Black American. He could be my son. So
So
yeah,
what?
I want to
But he's
protect my
not. He's
children.
not your son. He's not my brother. He's
He
not my
could be.
son. So what does what
Yeah.
do you mean one of us? So one
Or
of
maybe
us
you're looking
meaning
at it.
that by any means necessary, I need to support him by any means necessary.
Yes, I do. He's my son.
Okay, well that's your own opinion because black people are
Yes,
not
of
a
course.
monolith.
Well, I disagree.
Because
I think we should be a
because I
monolith.
had a prominent black man do a 3 hour space on Tuesday, and then you had niggas right after that space talking shit about that prominent black man that was an expert in the law. So why the fuck would I sit up here and say he's one of us? I don't know him. I don't know his family. I don't even know Austin or his fucking family. So no, it's not about oh he's one of us. That don't mean shit. Because this is why I have the question on my YouTube: is it about race or is it about justice? It should always be about justice.
Can I answer? Listen, Judge Joe Brown, if you're listening, I love you. Okay, that stream or that live stream doesn't take away the respect I have for you, Judge Joe Brown.
Well, even
I
if
want
you
to say
didn't
that.
have respect for him or not, I don't. He doesn't give a
Who are
fuck.
you? Who
But
are
the
you to say
point,
he needs your respect?
but yeah, but the point I'm trying to make here is the fact that when you sit up here, when black people sit up here, he's one of us. But at the same time, you be quick to kick your foot in the back of one of yours when they trying to tell you the facts about the fucking law. So don't give me that tribalism shit.
Well, that's not true. I don't believe that. Like I just said, I love
Where are you
Judge Joe Brown.
from?
Nothing's going to change
Where
that.
you from?
Um,
Where you from? Where you from?
North Carolina.
What part? That's where your ancestors' lineage is from.
Oh yes, yes. I mean, multiple generations, North and South Carolina.
What
Shout
is
out to
that?
my folks.
Mom's side or dad?
Both actually.
Both mom and dad lineage is from North Carolina. Are you sure?
Yes, I live here
Okay.
currently.
Off a plantation or were they free?
From my knowledge, plantation.
Which one?
I haven't done the whole direct history, but I know they definitely weren't free. So
On your mother and father, their lineage, they're both their lineage came off a plantation. No white,
yeah, the slave plantation.
no whiteness in it, no native in it.
As far as my knowledge, no, I don't. As far as my knowledge, no. I mean, maybe there was, because rape was very prevalent.
Mhm.
And anybody who laughs about rape is very
We're
creepy.
laughing because we know you're cosplaying, bro. I know who you are. But you could go ahead.
You don't
Keep
know
running
me, and
game.
you don't know me, and I just would like to finish. I waited patiently. I just want to get my thoughts out.
Okay,
But if
one
that's a
second before you
problem,
get your thoughts out. Let me. Miss Gigi, she says in the YouTube chat, Dana falls off cold every now and then. Excuse her. Listen, I don't do tribalism. I don't, because it's always a nigga that do you win at the end of the day. If I could make money with you, that's who I'm gonna be on that tribe. I don't care what color, what race, what religion. If we're doing business and it's good business, that's the tribe I'm on. I'm sorry.
Green and Bitcoin, Dana. Green and Bitcoin.
Right. Finish up the Pretender FFP.
yes, ma'am. What I can say is, in America, everything is about race. Okay, it will never not be about race. America was founded on race, its principles. It's enshrined in our Constitution.
Okay.
So this
And what
notion
does
that
that symbol mean as your profile picture? What does that mean?
have you ever heard of the Black American Heritage flag?
That's not a flag.
It is a flag.
No,
It's
no, no.
just the
I
center
said the
of it.
symbol. What is
Yeah,
it?
I'm trying to explain it to you,
No, you're
ma'am.
talking about a flag. See, flags have symbols. So break down the symbol of that picture.
That's a fig leaf, and inside the fig leaf is a fasces.
Nigga,
Seems to be very clear.
Wigger, I said, tell me about what does it symbolize, you Wigger? What does it symbolize?
Are you calling me names?
I'm calling you a Wigger because that's who you are.
She's
That's what
pulling your
you are.
coat. She's
Okay,
pulling
well,
your coat, bro.
listen,
We're here.
I'm not gonna fight it.
You can't even
If you
tell me
want a
what that
show for white
represents.
people,
You can't even
I'm not
tell me
gonna
what
fight
that. You
against
can't even
you.
tell
You're a
me what
black
that
woman.
picture represents. You can't even tell me what that picture
I
What?
just
represents.
did. It's a fig leaf. Fig
No, you
leaf
told me what it
represents
is, but you
prosperity.
ain't tell me what does
Let
it
me. I'm
represent.
trying to tell you now, ma'am. I'm not gonna fight against you. You know what I'm saying?
I
You're my
know because
sister, whether you
I
like
know
it or
you're not
not.
going to fight against me
But
because
I
you're not
also know who
black.
you are. I also know who you are. I'm a fan. Remember the Minister Jap days, so
I
I
don't
know who you
need
are.
fans.
Um, that's cool, but I am a fan, fanatical, in
Okay,
fact.
Not
thank you.
Minister
All
So
right,
Jap.
what I want
but
to
have
say
you
Not
ever
is,
Jap.
donated to my platform if you're a fan?
well, I'm not that much of a fan,
Okay, yeah,
clearly.
that's what I thought. So
What?
how about this, honey? Because I learned from the best. I learned from Mr. Troy Terrain. Uh, yeah, let me drop you down the speaker. Did I remove him from the space? I meant to drop him the listener. Peter, can you make sure that he's not on a remove list because he could come in as listener, but
Yeah.
I didn't mean to drop him out.
That was great, though. That was illustrative of what goes on over here and how people try to pass themselves off. It is funny. I'll see if he's removed or not.
Yeah, and unremove him if he is, because I just wanted to drop him the listener. You know, he's not that much of a fan, but he a fan. Like, get your ass out of here. Go ahead, D, then FBA, then Henrietta, and then I'll swing to Michael.
So, just to what Choke was saying before, where he read that reasons to believe you are being threatened. Now, I think it could be argued that he's going to need a lot more. He's going to need a more reason than just being pushed or shoved or grabbed than to use deadly force. That's the only thing that I think that he's going to have a problem, with arguing that case, because and apparently we don't know for sure, I wasn't there, but I don't see anywhere that for a fact that are you guys still there?
Yeah, we're here.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
No, I thought my phone shut off. And I don't see anywhere that it was 2-on-1. I don't see anywhere about that. I see that it was Austin against Austin being the one who didn't mind his business, but I don't know if that's enough reason for him to use deadly force. Him not minding his business and him either grabbing or pushing. Um, so and again, as far as the police reports and the multiple people that came forward with a statement, it didn't seem like anyone said it was 2-on-1. And somebody, I think it was the person that was just speaking, said something about if what are you going to do if a big football player comes at you, to a student. He wasn't just a student, he was also an athlete. He was also he was strong himself. Just because he didn't weigh as much, he was also an athlete. So he wasn't just a regular student. They were all they're pretty much all athletes there. So again, I think that it's going to be a hard case. It's going to be it's going to be a tough case. I definitely think he's going to get time. I don't think he's going to get baby time though. Not for what we know so far. But what was confirmed is there's video. So it was confirmed that there's multiple videos. So apparently of all angles. So I guess we're going to see sooner than later if it was 2-on-1.
D, real quick, just I know Dana, just real quick. Hey, just with the they're both athletes thing. So I used to wrestle, right? I wrestled all throughout high school, right? And it's the reason why they have weight classes. And even from let's say 145 to 152, right? That doesn't seem like a lot, right? Or 171 to 189. That doesn't seem like a lot, right? We You have to be that small margin of weight can
Those are
determine
different classes. Those are
those are
different
I'm
classes.
telling
No,
you
I get what you're saying. I'm just
the
addressing
power,
him saying a student. He wasn't just
but
a
the
student. He was
strength,
also
yeah,
also
but
an athlete.
it doesn't matter though. The strength
They
and the
had
power,
about
but
50 pounds on him,
yeah, the
man.
strength and the
Yeah.
power
But
between
again, we're
five
talking
to
about a
eight
push
pounds.
or a shove, or that we're talking
We're
about a push and
talking
a shove
about
here.
an assault,
D
an
D.
assault.
I've seen people get pushed and hit their head on the concrete
Oh,
and
this
damn
is
near
what I'm
die.
saying. It's too much. It's too much of speculation. It's pointless. It's pointless. It's waste of time with all the speculation. You really just
Well,
have to
that's all
wait and
we got
see.
right now,
Can we
sweetheart.
just play the words of his brother
And I
in
love
the
your
day,
accent, by the way.
Thank
the
you.
night? Yeah, of course.
You're welcome.
Very New
I'm
York.
sorry. What is this?
She's
Is
Sicilian
this
too,
pop the
LaFarmer.
balloon hour?
Oh, my
She's
bad, Dana.
Sicilian
I'm
too.
sorry.
I'm not Sicilian. I'm Napolitan.
Oh, Napoli. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
All right. FBA, then Henrietta.
We'll do the dating space after this one. We'll open another space for that.
FBA and Henrietta. Then Mike, you did have your hand up. I'll swing back to you as well.
Shout out to the room, co-host, host Dana, co-host Peter. Quick question, Peter, did you request for me to come up here? That's the reason why I came. I thought I seen that.
Yeah, I've been sending out invites to people who I like and who speak in spaces often, and I like what your takes on stuff. So that's why I invited you to come up.
When you heard me speak the other day, that's probably one of the only times I ever spoke. I've been on here for probably 6, 7, 8 years, but I get it. So I will kind of go over what I was saying, and what I believe is something that the brother just mentioned a few moments ago. Is I believe that he was overcharged to begin with. I think manslaughter is more fitting for him, and I also brought up the description of what covers manslaughter, which has a it has a um, it has something in there where it states that if someone's acting reckless, you know what I mean. So I'll say he's more on the reckless side, and something that wasn't intentional. Like, I'm about to go kill this motherfucker. I'm about to go do this. So I think they started off with the wrong charge to begin with. So they will downgrade, but I would like to wait and see what those motions and the discovery is going to be in the transcripts from the different court cases. That's what I want to wait for, to really dig into it, because it's literally going to tell us everything. Now everything is speculation, but at least speculate on a police report for what it is, because everything outside of that is going to be just feelings and what we think should be, which is, on the other hand, relevant, because it does make sense given the atmosphere of this country that we in and everything that's going on. A lot of us would try to keep everybody just stick to the law, do this, worry about this, don't put your feelings into it. It's impossible and it's too late. But it will come down to what is in that police report as far as now, and then more importantly, what is on those phones that they collected from those kids, all those phones. That's going to really be that's really going to tell anything. And it may even change the course of this
And it better
case.
not be doctored either.
Well, well, they got to hand it over. But they got to hand it over, if I'm not mistaken, undoctored, and especially like
They already,
on the.
FBI, they already seized the phones. They seized it on the spot. If you read the police
No,
report,
no, no,
yeah.
no. I read, they see. I'm talking about as far as
I'm
handing over
I'm
to
talking
the
about the
defense.
police doctrine.
No, no, no. He said don't doctor it. I'm saying like by the time the defense, the defense get it, they have to hand it over, unmessed up, undoctored or whatever. But yeah, they collected a bunch of phones from the kids um, doing the interviews or whatever.
Yeah, they'll have a
According to the
forensic
police
expert
report.
to go through the phone and make sure that they haven't. You know how difficult it
Well,
is to do that, to
all right.
doctor to digital
And
forensics.
speaking of, yeah, definitely. And speaking of the police report, it reads out almost like a damn movie. And if somebody was on their shit, they could actually make the beginning of a movie about this from the police's perspective, because they have so many different encounters of this police. Each police that came to the scene had to write their report, and it all kind of forms together like a movie till you get to the end of it, and them taking stuff, including the kids, whatever, to the police station. One thing that kind of caught my attention is they said that the young man died in his brother's arms. It also said in that report that they was working on him in the hospital. One of the police said they was working on him at the hospital. If I'm not mistaken. Go back over the report. They say that they was working on him to the hospital to a certain extent, and he, died or gave out. And it was no more. So that part was kind of confusing. But in the closing, I'll say that it's a strange case, man. You know, for as far as like the personal shit and all that, hell yeah, I want them to get off. Fuck that shit. All the other motherfuckers that got off, and we felt like it should have been evidence and this and that. When you get in those courts, there's ways to twist shit and make shit work in anyone's favor. They have a but even if he took a deal or got convicted of manslaughter, it's like 2 years to 20 years. So even if he did that and made one side feel good and the other side because he's not going to jail on time, may be a compromise, especially with everybody involved, meaning that the public. I'm just gonna sit back and watch, and I anticipate the actual case. If it go to trial or anything, any court appearances that produces transcripts, I expect that everybody will also be on that. And that's it. I'm gonna
And I
Uh,
just put for
mhm.
anybody's edification, I put the full police report in the nest and it's in the chat. So if you want to check it out, bookmark it so you have it. You could refer to it whenever you want.
All right, Henrietta, and then I'll swing back to Michael.
Hi, Dana. How
Hi, I'm
are
good. How are
you?
you?
Fine, thank you. I think this is so tragic. Carmelo he's an A student, an athlete. He had his whole life ahead of him. I apologize. I don't know I'm going to look at the details up there, but I'm going to tell you what I feel as a nurse and a mom and just an American. I'm very sad for him. I know that other dude is dead, but I grew up in LA, right? And I used to catch the bus on Venice Boulevard, and I had a knife on me when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? That's just was normal. Um, no, I didn't have one at school, but that's me. I didn't need one back then at school. So, I'm looking at and I didn't ever use it on anybody, but when people are young and they have a lot of testosterone, they were athletes. And it sounds like this other kid, the big kid, I'm not getting into race and all that stuff. I'm not doing that. I don't do that stuff. But the other one was the aggressor and came up to him. And Carmelo has a right to be afraid of that dude. Okay. So, and he's a kid. He's a kid to me at that moment. He's not somebody who this is a kid who's getting A's and an athlete. So he's busy doing the right thing. This is just my inclination. I have not looked at anything. I don't know his history. I'm just saying you don't get A's unless you're like super, super smart and you don't have to crack a book. But I'm inducted in the International Honor Society of Nursing and I had to crack a books. So I presume that Carmelo was taking his life and his future very seriously and he was committed to goodness. Okay. He didn't want to get hurt at school. Okay. And then that moment came. He's a kid and he doesn't have to be an expert at that moment. How much am I supposed to take? How bad am I supposed to get jacked up before I protect myself? He has a right to be afraid of that big guy. I did see the picture of that dude and he's bulky. He was a bulky big dude. Yes, Carmelo hit him right in the chest. He happened to hit an artery, obviously. That's why the aggressor died so fast. But Carmelo did not deliver like the kind of things I've seen. I worked in a level 1 trauma hospital in California. The people that knew what they were doing when they went for you, they went under the axillary into the lung. That's when they stab you, they mean it, and they don't want you to make it. Carmelo, I apologize if I'm saying his name wrong. Um, and I'm also going to tell you that I did volunteer with law enforcement from 2008 um, until 2016. And I was a youth mentor and all kinds of stuff. I'm not going to get into everything, but I've done a lot of stuff. I've been in victims and all kinds of stuff. So I my inclination, and I'm not of course an expert in the law, that is what Judge Joe Brown is, a superior treasure, national treasure, in my opinion, on the law. And I apologize that I didn't hear from him, Dana. I apologize, and I may be way off, but I think initially, and I don't know all the deets or anything. I don't know if Carmelo said, "Do get off me, get your hands off me." I don't know, but I know that he can be scared, and I know that he was a good kid. I know that because he's got A's and he's an athlete, so he was not playing with his life. He was really trying to do good. I actually want to start crying because I don't know anything and I don't cry really easy, but this is a really bad tragedy. And for both, okay. That dude did not need to um get all crazy with Carmelo, you know. Uh, I don't know why he came up and bum rushed him and acted a fool like that. I don't know. Maybe testosterone or they were showing off. It went too far. One was, they're bordering manhood and they're both, they were both pumped up or whatever, athletes and it just went wrong real fast. Carmelo, unfortunately, um, I don't know how big that knife was or anything, but he delivered it good enough to end the aggressor, because the other dude was the aggressor, and he ended him, so he didn't get another chance. He didn't get a chance for it to be a slice. It's not funny. Excuse me. I'm just saying it's so sad and bad. Um, I personally, honestly, and I am all about law enforcement. I'm going to tell you, I really am. I personally, honestly think that he is too good to be in a jail. I think he's a good kid, and I really don't want to. It's horrible. His life is messed up that fast, and I think he was really scared. And I really can't. I just really am getting a strong feeling that he was really scared. I don't care if they
And so
say
if you were on the
he
jury,
was an athlete
you
or
would vote
not.
to acquit, right? You if you were on the jury, you would vote.
I would definitely not ever put him in a jail, a
Hmm.
prison for life. He did not go to school he did not live his life to be in nobody's prison. That is a young man that was living his life to live his life fully. Now, I don't know what made that other guy do what he did. Everybody, he's just a guy. What do kids do? Oh, leave me the F alone, mama. They say stuff, they fight, they're full of energy, they're full of strength, they're budding men, they're full of stuff.
Let me say this
But
too, because I agree with everything
mhm.
you're saying, Henrietta.
I really feel bad for him. I don't know
I feel
anything
bad for him
about him
too.
but that. I'm about to cry about him, and I don't really even know, except my heart is broken for him because I think he was probably, before that second, right? Before that second, he was probably like the perfect kid.
Well, here's the thing. Nobody,
in my
right. So here's
estimation.
my thing. This is what I'm gonna say because nobody isn't perfect and teenagers do dumb shit.
Yeah.
However, his
Hmm.
intent was not to kill Austin McCabb.
I
And
agree.
both,
I don't think it
but it's a
was.
tragedy because you have a family that lost, you have parents that they lost a
I
child.
know.
And so
I
so
know.
and then you have some
That
and
was
then
that.
you have somebody else.
Carmelo's lost a child
Right.
too,
And then
though.
that there
Carmelo's
and then
lost a child
Carmelo, it's
too.
like, okay, he's not dead, but his life is ruined basically. So
It's
and so
ruined,
here's but this is what I want to say, and then I'm gonna go to
and he's got to live with
right. And
this.
I want to go to then I
Okay,
want to go to
honey.
Michael Duncan choke, and then we're gonna close out. But this is what I want to say. He didn't
Hmm.
have I truly believe his intention was not to kill him because he did say, oh, is he okay? Because however, if you
Hmm.
are if you have a knife on you, like I carry a knife when I go hiking, and then I forgot it was in my purse, and
Hmm.
I was going through TSA, and they saw the damn knife. I'm like, oh shit. But
Yeah.
but there, and then too, I don't know who it was. I think it was D that said that when you get on a subway, you carry the knife. I don't know. Yeah,
Hmm.
and I that's true too. But
Hmm.
I think if you're going to carry a weapon, right, to protect
Hmm.
yourself,
Hmm.
you have to
Or to scare somebody.
or scare someone. You have to understand the
Hmm.
consequences. You have to know what you're doing, and then you have to know
Hmm.
if you do use it and you get arrested to shut the fuck up. So you have to know how to use
Yeah.
that weapon and
Bless his
and the
heart.
consequences that come with that. That needs to be taught. So
Yeah, he didn't
he didn't
know.
know, and
Bless
that's
his
it.
heart.
And he
He's going to
and his
school. He's an
intention was
athlete.
not to kill him. So
Mm-mm.
mentally,
Hmm.
I know he's all messed up mentally because, like, damn, that was I just wanted him to whatever,
I
leave me
feel so
alone or
bad for
whatever.
him.
But all right, let me go. Who
Hmm.
was it? Michael.
Dana, wait, I have
Yeah,
a
it was
quick
me.
question
Okay,
for
It was
Dana.
Henrietta. I
Thank
have
you,
a
honey.
Yeah,
quick
thank you.
question for Henrietta. Henrietta, if you had
Oh,
to place $1,000 bet on whether he would be convicted or acquitted, where would you put the $1,000 right now?
where is this case being heard?
Texas,
What part?
Frisco.
Is that the
Yeah,
center
It's
or
outside
what?
of Dallas. Outside of Dallas.
How far out?
It's 7 miles.
Okay, so that the percentage. Okay, now may I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Does he have any record of anything
I
in
don't
his
think so.
life
I
other
don't
than
think
being
so.
a
I don't
great
think so. I
kid?
don't think
Other than
so. I
being a
don't think
great
so.
kid? I think he's
Right.
not
So
going
you'd
to
put the
jail.
$1,000 up that he's not going, right? Could I take your action right now and we'll do a cryptocurrency in a contract, smart contract?
I don't do
Okay.
crypto.
Well, if I could help you show you how to do it, would you do it?
Hey Peter.
I do
I'll
need
take
to
all
learn.
action. I'll take all the action that anybody says he's going to be acquitted. I'll
P,
take all
P,
your
A
action up to a
thousand
thousand
dollars
dollars
that
per
he's
bet.
not
Peter.
going.
Remember.
Yeah, I don't think I could. I couldn't send them, so they wouldn't use me. I guess I don't think I. No, I could. I mean, I'd be
No,
crying
I
about the whole
understand you would.
thing,
What I'm saying is, would you
but I
put
can't
money
end
up to
his
back
life
what your
too.
assertion
I
is?
can't end Carmelo's life because
I
he's a good
I
kid. He's
understand.
not the kind of
You
kid
sound very
that's
reasonable and
all
smart.
about any
Thank
of
you.
this.
P. I was.
All right,
Yeah,
I
I
was.
want
I
to get
am
to
actually,
Michael.
but Carmelo's not the
I know.
one.
I
He's
know.
just
P.
You're
not the
smart.
one.
I
Yep.
was
Just
at.
saying.
I was at
Okay.
65% before. I'm now at 75% chance of him beating it, just on the fact of multiple assailants in self defense.
I'll take your
Now,
action. You want?
all
I'll
right, hold
take
on,
your
hold
action.
on. Now that mean the multiple assailants in self defense mean basically like if two people come up to you and you're all you got to do is be threatened. If one of them threatened you, you could take anyone. You could attack any one of them in self defense.
Oh, there
No,
was more
no,
than one
no.
on
I
a
mean, just
Carmelo.
one brother.
Oh,
One brother attacked. He fought one brother or whatever.
I don't care about the race, hun. I'm sorry, I
No,
don't. I
he's
care
saying one
about that
brother.
Carmelo had a right to
They're
being
brothers.
scared.
Austin and Hunter are brothers. He's not saying brother like a black man. He's saying
Oh,
one
Well,
I'm
brother.
sorry.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
One of the
sorry.
brothers attacked him, but since they came in a group
Oh,
of more than one, you know what I'm saying? Since they
oh,
came in a group of more than one, if
yeah.
one of them threatened you, you could defend yourself. So the knife might be justified. You get what I'm saying? Not saying that it was right,
Well,
because I done seen this situation happen before, and if it was a place like New Jersey,
yeah.
he would have been in jail from the. It wouldn't have been no.
Yeah, and Carmelo's not from LA or New Jersey or anything. He's
He
busy
from
going to
Texas.
school,
You know what I'm saying?
getting
Yeah.
A's.
But I'm saying that I'm
Yeah,
So,
saying
but
Mike,
you know, come on.
Mike, you say
That's not LA.
75% he gets acquitted, right?
no, yeah, 75% he get
I
acquitted
think
now because
Okay.
like I said, since it
Would you
was
give me
it's
odds?
because
Would you give me
Carmelo
odds
wasn't
since you feel?
learning
Would
how
you
to
give me 3 to
fight.
1 odds since you feel that way? Like
3-1, you gotta
we put.
you gotta lay me the odds. He
What do you
won.
mean? You just said 75%. That's
I,
a crazy number that you
that's
believe. So you got to give me
I
odds.
believe that. You know what I'm saying? 75%, but let's not be real. Like shit, he
in
they already got
Texas.
him. In my eyes, he's guilty until proven innocent.
Dana, I think we need to put
Yeah,
action on it.
keep saying it,
I think we just came up with an
I'm not
idea of the
putting action
century.
on that. I think that's kind of because somebody. We talking
It's
about
Cali.
kids.
Yeah,
It's
man, we
Cali.
can't play with people's life like that.
I'm trying to get this bread.
Now I
Carmelo
did put a
really is a
poll.
kid.
Now
Carmelo really is
now
a kid. He
now give
wasn't
me a
out there being
second because
bad
I
in the
did put a
streets.
poll in the YouTube chat. I put a poll. I said, how
Oh.
much prison time will Carmelo Anthony get? 5 years minimum, over 10 years, or
Mhm.
no time self defense. 63% said no time self defense. 21% says 5 years minimum, and 16% said over 10 years. So I did do a poll, but I won't put money on it. I don't
Mhm.
gamble. But all right. So
Mhm.
who Duncan?
It's a hard one. It's a hard one because Carmelo is
They
such a
don't
good
even.
Yeah. So
kid.
He don't.
It's
You
a
know it's
hard one.
crazy when
I can feel that he's a
when
good kid.
I,
I can
I want to
feel it
I want to go to
in my
Duncan,
heart.
then Lamar.
And I don't even know
I want to go to
anything.
Duncan, then Lamar,
He's
and
good.
then Choke D.
I'll be praying.
All right. I want to go to Duncan, then Lamar, then Choke, then D, because I'm gonna start closing out.
Okay, love you, Dana.
Love you too. Thank you, Henrietta. Who did I say? Go ahead, Duncan, and I'm gonna go around and let everybody have their last say.
Yeah, it's just like if you ever faced the case or if you ever had a charge against you, sit
Wait
up.
1 second, Duncan. 1 second, 1 second. Let me say this now to all y'all pussy niggas that talk y'all shit Tuesday night. None of y'all bitch asses didn't want to come up here, you know what I'm saying, and say all that bullshit y'all was saying on fucking Tuesday trying to talk shit about the judge. Fucking cornballs, bitch ass. But go ahead, Duncan. Go ahead.
Yeah. Like I was saying, like if you ever faced a charge before, you sitting up there, your life hanging in the balance, and you see people snickering, laughing, like life goes on. You see what I'm saying? Regardless if he get acquitted or not, this situation they're gonna stick with him for the rest of his life, even though if he was in the right or if he wasn't in the right, right? So I'm definitely not taking a poll is something different than gambling, like on a cockfight or something like that. I don't think that's moral to do that. I would not do that. Another thing is I don't know if it's true, but I heard Austin had drugs in his system. Now I don't know if does that play a part. Will it not play a part?
That was a fake toxicology
There was
report
a
that was
fake
circulated.
store.
Yep.
Okay,
Was it steroids? Was it
No,
could
it
have
steroids?
was
been.
it was
I don't know.
methamphetamine or Molly, and then fentanyl. They said somebody made it to try to stir up controversy.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
So if that comes out to be true, it definitely don't play a part. But if he did have drugs in the system, the case is shown. It'll come out if it did. And that will play a part. But I feel that, well, I believe that regardless of if it was two or one, if he was being attacked, he had a right to defend himself. And then I'm wondering where all the anti-bully people at. The bullying is wrong, anti-bully. I'm not hearing that much of this in this conversation. So it seems like it's a double standard, and it is a double standard. I know it is. So I'm not gonna say it's not a double
Wait, how
standard.
is it a double standard? Please flesh
It
that
is a
out for me.
double. But see, you asking me to try to convince you that racism exists in this country. I'm not gonna do that because I know
But
racism exists in this
that's
country.
preposterous because I know racism exists, but I don't understand the double standard in this case.
Well, if I show you the double standard, you'll say, well, one is in one state and another one is in another state.
Oh,
So
you're
you
going to
can't
point to
talk about,
wait. You're going to point to Rittenhouse or Zimmerman? Is that where you're going with that, or Daniel
regardless
Penny?
of where I pointed at, you would not care. So I'm not trying
Right.
to convince you of that. I'm reserving the right as a human being myself to say what I'm witnessing is a
And I
double
appreciate
standard.
that. I appreciate your opinion.
It's
Thank you.
irregardless. It's irregardless. I didn't even ask for yours. I was just saying that this is a double standard. And so that's all I'm saying. And it is also a double standard how you don't have the anti-bullying people coming out now, because I really think that regardless of what we say, Austin is dead and he's not coming back. And that's gonna be sad for his family. You see what I'm saying? So we it needs to be conversation from mature adults about why bullying is wrong, the problems of bullying, stuff like that. I would love to hear that come up in this conversation, but
Well, you know what, Duncan, thank you for saying that. That's the conversation we're going to have on Sunday. So please come back in on Sunday. Let
we'll
me
do.
go to,
We'll
who is
do.
it? I'm going to go to La Farmer. I'm going to go to
Dana,
D.
one second. Let me just speak to what Henrietta said as well. That he was a good kid because he got A's in school. I got A's throughout school. I was the president of my law fraternity. I sold cocaine, marijuana, and
You
OxyContin
sold
all throughout.
cocaine as an adult, Peter.
Right. In
Okay,
high
then
school,
he's
no,
still
from
a
16.
teenager. No,
No, I
no, no,
started selling
Peter.
cocaine at 16.
But he
16
didn't
years old.
sell cocaine. I don't
Okay,
even
but
see
he
how
No,
that
did.
came
no,
Wait,
no, no,
in.
no.
wait. So
No,
Peter,
the point.
no,
The
Peter. Now you moving the goalposts, Peter, because that was you at 16. This kid is not doing that at 16,
the
17.
point that
You
I'm
chose
making,
to
Right? That
do
was
the
that.
awful.
point that I'm
Carmelo
making.
Very
actually
awful.
had
No,
two
hold on a
jobs.
second. Hold on. The point that I'm making is Henriette is assuming that because he gets A's in school, he's a good kid. But somebody
Okay,
could
did
get
you have a record at 16, Peter?
no,
Carmelo had a job,
You
bro.
no.
ain't had
What
no record,
what
no
I'm
nothing. You never been
no,
arrested, no
no
nothing.
not at
Okay,
16.
fine.
No,
Is
wait.
there any
What I'm
proof
saying.
that
Listen,
Carmelo
listen,
sold
stop.
What
drugs?
what
Wait.
I'm
Everybody slow
saying.
down for a second. Everybody slow down for a second because I got to close out in 5 minutes. So I need to get, who was it? It was it La Farmer? La Farmer D, choke. Like 30 seconds, everyone, just your last
I
remarks.
also put
Okay.
a poll in the nest. If you take that poll, I want to see what the if you think he's going to get convicted or acquitted.
All right, go ahead, La Farmer.
Oh, hold
La
on.
Farmer,
Yeah,
30 seconds.
I'm
Come on,
here.
come
I'm
on,
here.
come on,
All
come
right.
on.
Well, look. Well, thank you for the space since I got dang on 30 seconds and you're rushing me out of here.
I
Uh,
know, because my other video about to
okay,
premiere
let
on
me
my
go
other
ahead and say
channel
it.
at
Let me go.
9. Come on.
I rock with you. I'm gonna try to make it 30 or 35. But check it. Look, Carmelo might not just be a good person because he had good grades or 3.78 GPA, but he also risked his life to save another person's life before. He made the neighborhood newspaper in town, so that might make him not just a good person, but a neighborhood hero, a local hero. And he also worked with another white woman to go ahead and help save that young black boy. So he worked well with another white and black person in a time when it came to a life threatening situation with another person in the community. Something else that I will say is this: if he has the defense, which I do firmly believe is going to become the facts, and I put it in the pill that he's going to have his defense because he said that him and his brother walked up to him simultaneously. You can hear his brother say that. I threw it in the purple pill at the bottom. Y'all go check out the thread. It's all the videos. You can hear from him. You can hear from the source, fucking police affidavit. You can hear from the brother who quote he died in his arms. Yeah, that's also in the purple pill. And I say this on the last part. Thank you for a great space, Dana. I'm definitely gonna have a space right after this, still covering the conversation. So God bless you, and if you're free, come on through and check it out.
All right. D.
I don't really have much to add again because it's a lot of speculation, and at this point, it's just going around in a circle. But as far as the bullying, I don't know why any bullying people would come out when we don't even know for sure if bullying played a role. That's just opening up a whole can of worms when we don't even know. That's a whole nother fight. When where there already is a whole fight started, a racial war is going on right now when we don't even know when the white father came out and the first thing he said was, please don't make this about race. So and it's about race, but so that's just opening up a whole nother bullying can of worms. I think that if it is in fact confirmed that it was a bullying issue, then of course have the conversation. But the thing is that winners wait. So There's too many people jumping to conclusions on what ifs and I feel and blah blah. Feelings are not going to play a role in the courtroom. It's going to be facts and facts only. So winners wait. That's all I got to say.
All right. Choke, and then the Negro honey, you came up here late, but go ahead, Choke.
Yeah, I was kind of just going to highlight like some of the things La Farmer said. I mean, when it comes to character, it seems like Carmelo's character was tight, and can't really be questioned. Worked the job, good grades. Even if you look at his Twitter account, he's highlighting his college opportunities. Being pursued by colleges to play football at the next level. All these different things, man. Like this kid didn't want to throw his life away. He didn't want. There's nothing malicious about it. Is what I'm saying. It's unfortunate what happened. Um, but like D said, we're kind of just speculating and going around in circles, for the moment until all the facts drop. And when the facts drop, yeah, I mean, decisions gonna have to be made. But I hope for the best outcome. I just put it like that.
So let me do my little bit of speculation. I speculate that Choke is going to hop in D's DMs on X after
Damn,
this
Dana, come
debate.
on, man. Dana, you come on now.
That's what I'm speculating, honey. We gonna have to pop the balloon.
Gosh.
All right. Go ahead, the Negro.
All right. Thank you for holding this space. Very interesting. My take on it is, he should not go to jail at all. But that's just my perspective of what's being presented here. Um, the other aspect that I do want to touch upon is the Dred Scott decision and how that is affecting Negro Black Americans to this present day, where um, the um, the rights and the stuff that should be afforded to us as a people, normally gets neglected and doesn't get respected. And people always tell that we have to fight for it, and then when we do, now they want to call foul or protect ourselves. They want to call foul. So I don't I think the man is beyond innocent, and he's a pristine young man, and I wish him the most positive outcome. The other guy, we already know what his outcome is for bullying and harassing and doing other things. So the moral of the story for other demographics: don't do that to black folks. Don't harass black folks. Don't go off and pull some Rosa Parks move and telling them to get up out of their seat and all that other stuff and expect for people to return with kindness. Treat others how you want to be treated. And salute.
Okay. Um, Oh, it's okay. It's 8 for okay. Good timing. So yeah, I mean, this is a good space, and yeah, Sunday definitely be back Sunday, 7 p.m. Maybe earlier, but right now 7 p.m. And I really appreciate everybody, all the speakers coming up, speaking, um, and sharing their thoughts on this. And this is ongoing. So Monday is the first hearing, and Carmelo Anthony lawyer is that's at that hearing. He's going to ask for the bail to be lowered, and he cannot get the death penalty and he cannot get life without parole. And the DA Willis, God, he has not received the case yet because the police is still investigating, and they have, I think, over 2 dozen witnesses and videos. But and yes, I think if you want to donate to Carmelo Anthony's defense fund, do so, because we want him to have a fair trial. Whether you agree with what he did or not, everyone deserves a fair trial. And that's why the YouTube I put, is race more important than justice? No, we should all be seeking justice out of this. But and definitely need to have that conversation about bullying. So thank you, Duncan, for that. And that's going to be part of the conversation on Sunday, bullying. Because I'm gonna be bullying some of you people on X on Sunday as well. So yeah, so Peter, go ahead and close us out. And I have a video dropping on the Real Dane on YouTube tonight at 9. When the judge, she's gonna be talking about China tariffs. And thank you to everybody on YouTube, you guys in the chat. Y'all was getting it in the chat. So thank you guys listening on YouTube and people in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Go ahead, Peter.
Yep. I appreciate everybody coming to the space. Great conversation. Follow Dana with the data page, as well as follow Judge Joe Brown. Follow the speakers that were on stage that spoke to you. And appreciate everybody's input and opinions, even if they differed with mine. I actually encourage that because we don't want to be in an echo chamber. And I'll catch you in the next space. Dana, I'll see you on Sunday. And hope everybody has a great weekend if I don't see you before then in the space.
All right. And before I go, the poll, excuse me, how much time? Wait, hold on. How much prison time will Carmelo Anthony get? 50% no time, 26 over 10 years, 24 5 years minimum. So yeah. Sorry. So it's basically 50% no time and the other 50 some type of time. Anyway, I don't know why I'm coughing so much. All right. Everybody have a wonderful night. See you on Sunday and see you
Good
on
night, Dana.
YouTube. Good night. Thank you.
Good night.